Stick? Oh, that's good, man. It's $199 buyer. I mean, like I always say, you can get if you can get one, you can get multiple. You can get 100, right? Just try and kind of figure out if there was anything specific that you did differently to get that $99 buyer that you know of, and just keep doing that. First $99 buyer last week in Curling. Attaboy, Matt. Awesome, Inez. That's good. The first phone call is the hardest. Trust me, that's the worst one. That's the one that's always the most stressful. Fumble over your words. Well, maybe not. I guess I can't speak for everybody, but for me personally, yeah, it was a bit of a shaky first phone call for sure. That's good, man. Got some stuff in the works for over in Australia. So basically, right now we're kind of competing with like the that Australian crew over there, and it's pretty difficult because they have the infrastructure in place. They have webinars and stuff that they do live, and they do them at a time that fits for people in Australia and their schedule with their time zone. So it's they've got an advantage for sure. So we got some things in the works here, so we can start targeting Australia a little more heavily and other countries, New Zealand as well. Get some everywhere, like the Everweber is basically the main thing that they're working at so that they can watch it at any time, right? $195 words per minute. Did you time yourself, Caleb, after the last one I did? Who actually went and took cold showers and brushed their teeth with the wrong hand? Because I've been doing it every day. Well, I think I've skipped one or two. But honestly, the cold showers are pretty fucking decent actually when you get out. Like at first, I'm just dreading it. I don't do the cold shower the entire time. It's like the last 2 minutes, I'll just crank it to cold and stand there. But yeah, but well, once you step out, you feel good. Honestly, you feel really refreshed. Wakes you right up. Been doing some heavy snowboarding here lately, so they're working on some new. Yeah, no. First of all, yeah, brushing your teeth with your wrong hand is. I'm getting better, but it's fucking. It about doubles the time I take it. I'll probably go to the dentist and have a bunch of cavities and shit because I'm brushing my teeth like garbage. But so yeah, the instant Webby link. They're working on new ever webinars. Basically, is what I meant by that. So um, they're still working out some kinks and stuff like that with that particular Webby link. So they're going to be having they're going to be implementing some new better stuff, and the training. All the videos have been shot for the new training, so they're going to hopefully get that implemented in the new year, early new year. Sorry, like January is kind of what it sounds like. Probably right after Punta Cana is kind of when they're going to try and roll this out. It's just going to be a lot more user friendly. It's not going to be so confusing with like Gaz training, Team Phoenix training. It's going to all be in one spot. Everything's going to be covered from step one. Literally everything. It's going to be gamified, so you need to do certain things first in order to even get other stuff unlocked. So you're not getting way too ahead of yourself and getting overwhelmed. Yeah. So I mean, we're still young too. It's always we're continually updating and learning and upgrading. So it's like if you seen the training when I started, you would be, you'd be like, holy fuck, it's came so far because it was shit when I started. Um, Masterclass. Oh, they're not doing that interview anymore, or the master class anymore? Shit. But yeah, most of his videos and all that stuff that he does is on YouTube. So just yeah, watch that stuff. It's good. Start at the beginning of November and training stuff. How about the ebook? The ebook. The ebook is honestly, I'm not sure where they're at with the ebook at the moment. Um, I know they basically the funnel that they had created was like a double opt-in with the ebook, and it was just confusing a lot of people. I know some people have had success with it. For me personally, um, I did get quite a few buyers off it, but I mean, I felt like I needed about 3 times the leads before we're starting to get buyers. So it could have been a lot of variables, though, um, that kind of led to me having to pay a little more for a $99 buyer. But it was harder to track because basically as soon as they opted in for the ebook and to download the ebook, they entered their email, and that was registering as a lead, which doesn't necessarily mean that they watched the webinar at any point in time either. So I mean, it was just not as accurate. So that was kind of the first reason they took it down. But I'll look into that, see if there's any update on the ebook coming back. There was a couple things like I messaged. I was talking to a couple people about possibly implementing like a worksheet type of thing that you can get with info on it, just so people follow along in the webinars and they pay attention and they actually sit there and watch it. And I got that from that John Quick dude, or Jim Quick's funnel. So that was I think that's a good idea, but I think they're going to work on that. They've got some other priorities right at the moment. So yeah, the ebook I don't think is anywhere near top priority at the moment. They need to figure out like deliverability, implementing the new coaching call training, which they're doing as well, getting people trained up, a lot of that stuff. It's a process, man. It's not, when you get into like the corporate side of things, I guess I guess anybody that works in the oil field here would know, like if you're trying to get something done at work and it has to go to like Calgary and they need to talk to engineers and it has to go through the board and all this shit, it's like turns out to be a 1 hour job, ends up getting done like 2 months later type of thing. So it has to go through a lot of hands, and it's a bit of a process. So it's kind of where it gets a little bit into the whole politics side of things, and everybody needs to be in agreement and all this shit. So yeah, I mean, we're pushing for a lot of stuff, and it's just kind of one thing at a time, one step at a time. So obviously the most important things are like deliverability, so people are actually getting links to the webinars, the coaching call, the coaching rotation, getting people trained for the coaching, making sure that it's a lot more user friendly, and the training itself, setting it up so it's a little more gamified, so it's easier for the newest person to come in, get some wins right off the bat type of thing. They're working on quite a few things, like some new webinar, kind of how the webinars are structured a little bit, new sales funnels, new landing pages. All of this shit is in the works. And honestly, I wouldn't hold your breath for anything. I wouldn't hold your breath because I don't think anything's going to be happening over the holidays for sure. I'm pretty sure everybody's chilling on that over the holidays. So hopefully early new year, we'll start seeing a lot of these changes. I know for a fact there's some big changes that are on the horizon. I can't really speak about them right at the moment. What else do we got in here? I should open the Q&A. Fuck. What does that post Brian made about the post engagement bait entail? What do you define as bait? I read that post, but it wasn't very clear. So a big, I think really what it was aimed towards is a lot of these posts you're seeing nowadays where people are like, hey, if you like blue, or if your favorite color is blue, then hit like. If your favorite color is green, then love this post. If your favorite color is yellow, then than laugh at this post or whatever, right? It's like, it's people trying to get engagement. It's called the engagement bait, I guess. And it's just, it's a really lazy way of doing it, in my opinion. And it's obviously Facebook's cracking down on it because their main goal is having relevant content on people's pages when they're scrolling through Facebook, and stuff that keeps their users engaged and gives them the best user experience. So if their news feed's full with a bunch of that shit, then they're going to crack down on it. So a lot of that stuff, I don't think it's really going to affect running conversion or post engagement ads at the moment. Like saying comment I'm in if you're interested, stuff like that. I don't think it's going to have too much of an impact on that. I wouldn't consider that, especially if it's in a story ad. I wouldn't consider that. I wouldn't consider that engagement bait, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But it's just those posts that you keep seeing people like, hey, I've got fucking 2,000 Facebook friends. Who's going to say hi? That kind of thing. Yeah, just don't do that. I don't know why people do it in the first place, but just don't do it if you're already doing it. Because Facebook will literally put it in front of nobody, but they won't implement it immediately. But from what I read, it's going to be kind of drawn out over the next little course of whatever, a month or a few months or something, it said. So that's kind of what that post was about that Brian had made. So yeah, I mean, like they had said too, like Lana in the States we're just talking about is if, anything that happens with Facebook's algorithm or anything like that they do, we just need to adapt. If it does affect post engagement ads, then we'll just focus more on conversion ads and that's it, right? So not a big deal. It's nothing that's going to really affect us too much. Only if you're doing those ads, and I don't assume that those posts are really getting anybody any sort of decent engagement anyways. Just because people like your page or like your pictures. I think that the goal is that when people are engaging with a post like that over and over, then Facebook is more likely to put their posts in front of those people again, right? But I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid. If you're doing it on your personal Facebook and you're getting to people, 99% of the people engaging with that ad are people in this community. It doesn't make any sense to me, but anyways. Does anybody else have any questions? Pete and Bree, what did you want me to touch on again? Sorry, I can't remember. Was it about compensation plan or something? Let me check. First touch. So, first touch and comp plan. Yeah, so the first touch rule, they bumped it to 45 days, correct? I missed the go live, but we were talking about 45 days. I just can't remember it at the moment. It's 45 days. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 45 days. So that basically just means instead of a 6 month first touch rule, whereas, in the past, basically if someone came in, they clicked on your domain, let's say they opted in for the web or they opted into the webinar through your domain, your advertisement, something like that. So basically they would be coded to you for a 6 month period. So and that trumped the direct checkout link, all of that. So basically if, like, say for example, someone came in, they clicked on your domain, opted in for the webinar, didn't buy in, so they didn't pay the $99. And then 4 months later, they're talking to somebody else and they connect with this other person and they're conversating for days, and that person sends them the direct checkout link. They use that direct checkout link to pay the $99, and boom, all of a sudden the buyer's not theirs, and they're like, what happened? Like, I just sent them the direct checkout link. They're not in my back office, and now somebody else has them as a buyer. That's the reason why, because they opted in with them months prior. But if it was within that 6 month period, that 6 month window, they would go to the first person they opted in with, the first person they touched, first touch. So that's how it used to be. And a lot of people were having a lot of issues with it because people were losing buyers like left, right, and center, because people were coming in, especially new people coming in, and essentially having to be almost 6 months behind, right? Because there's people especially people that have been in for a long period of time, or people running a ton of traffic. Like a lot of the leaders running a ton of traffic, right? Like they're spending huge amounts of money on ads, right? So the just the chance, just the probability alone, of them coming in and them actually have already opted into one of these other people, and the new buyer's like, well, what the fuck? I just sent them the buy link. They're like, sorry, you lost your buyer to Brian Hodgson, or you lost your buyer to Caleb Delargy. So it was causing a lot of problems. It wasn't really catering to the newest person. And, lots of people were coming in there getting like their first 3, 4, 5 buyers, taken away essentially because, they were putting in the work, but then all of a sudden the person is coded to somebody who's never spoke to them before in their life because this person opted into the webinar through their domain 5 months ago. So yeah, it was just not really fair. So now with 45 days, it gives the newest buyer a little better shot. And it just gives anybody the chance. Like if you're putting in all the time and effort and energy into getting these buyers, and you're talking with them, or you're on the phone with them, or, some people are even, some people are even like going out for dinner with people, stuff like that. So, I mean, it just gives them a better shot. If they're putting in all the work, I'll touch on this right now, Matt. If they're putting in all the work, and they send them that direct checkout link, and that person buys through that direct checkout link, then absolutely that should be their buyer. It shouldn't be the person's buyer who that person clicked on their link and opted in and didn't even know who the hell they were, right? So that has been a change. Apparently they're still working on that as well. I mean, they said that the changes went live, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. So that should be good to go. I mean, I've already had a one situation where it didn't work, but hey, Shauna, Merry Christmas. Yeah. So, but that's kind of where we're at right now. They're going to keep a close eye on things too, because what the main concern with dropping the first touch rule time frame down to 45 days is that people were going to be wanting to work with a particular person. So they were going to be doing like sponsored poaching, I guess is what they were calling it, or what they referred to. So if they were like, fuck, I really want to work with Garrett, I really want to work with Brian, or I really want to work with Brandon Odom because I see his pictures and shit, and I see him in the webinar and all that. And then they're like, well, they find out this would never happen with the leaders, but like, let's say it was someone who was fairly new, and they were like, look, this is how it works. I know you've already opted in and you spoke with somebody else and you were going to pay through someone else, but this is what you can do to get around it. Just wait. If it's already been a month, then just wait another 15 days, and basically the slate's wiped clean, and then I'll send you then you can opt in with me. That's what they were worried about. So that's kind of why they implemented the buy link trumping the opt-in. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that. I mean, I've heard really positive things so far. Obviously, you can't please everybody. Some people aren't going to be too happy with it, but the majority of the people I've spoken with so far have been pretty stoked about it. I'm happy with it as well. I've been pushing for that for like the last fucking year probably, just from losing so many buyers to people who had no idea who the person was, and people that I had talked with forever. So it was just it was annoying, but at the same time, you guys will get to a point in your business where, in order to scale, you need to rely more so on the business or on the platform and the system than talking with leads. Because if you really want to scale, like, Matt Jang, I guarantee he's not talking to all of his leads, well, I know that for a fact, but if you want to make $100,000+ in a month, basically you want to be able to dump in $20,000 into ads and let the system do the work, and let the sales funnel do the work in the webinars and stuff. You can't. If you're dumping $20,000 in ads, the volume of people that would be reaching out to you you would go absolutely fucking mental trying to respond to all of those people. So that's what, you got to really be able to, leverage the system if you really want to scale. So although I highly encourage, especially when, probably for everybody in here, I highly encourage you're putting in the time and effort into getting your leads and getting your buyers. And if that means speaking to them on the phone, messaging them, even, I've taken people out for lunch and stuff like that, or went for a beer. That's important. It's really important. You're going to need to do that. But when you get to the point where you have a large enough ad spend and you don't have the time, then you need to be able to really leverage the system and do conversion ads and let go of that side of things a little bit. Like even Julian, for instance, he'll do, well, he was doing when people were, because even regardless, if you run conversion ads, you're still getting people that are asking for more info all the time. It's just inevitable. It's just like the one person does it, and then it just starts like a wildfire, man. It just spreads. So, but Julian, he used to, like, once a week, he would just reply to everybody at once, kind of thing. Or lots of times, if people commented on his ad, he would just like it. He would just like their comment, and that's it. He wouldn't reply to them or anything. He'd be like, well, I'm like, when I first seen him doing that, I was like, fuck, doesn't that give you anxiety just having all those messages sitting there? And he's like, no, man. He's like, if they can't follow simple instructions, he's like, I told them to opt in. I told them to get the ebook or whatever. He's like, I never once said ask for more info in my ad copy, in the video, anywhere. So they can't really expect me to be giving them more info. I don't have time for that shit. Same thing if you see Tai Lopez's ad or something like that and he's offering a course and you ask for more information, you think Tai Lopez is going to reply to you? Fuck no. Quick question. I have an engagement ad with no link that is $2.45 cost per comment. I created it with a link in the ad copy and ran it as conversion. He's not doing as good with the same target audience and everything. So what should I do with it if I don't get any leads after $5? Shut it down or tweak it? So when you put a link in your ad copy, Facebook will automatically drop your reach. They will put it in front of less people. They want to keep people on their platform. They don't want people clicking a link and that takes them off of Facebook. So they're going to automatically do that. So you can reach more people with a post engagement ad with no link in the ad copy. That's why, they say it's cheaper for a lead if you're running post engagement with no ad copy. It's cheaper, but it's going to be costing you more time. But yeah, so if you're getting 245 cost per comment with no link, I would run it like that, and then I would have duplicated it, and then added a link into it, and I would have added your domain into the ad copy and compared the two. I wouldn't have really I wouldn't have just tweaked the one that was already running decent. If you guys are getting an ad that's running well, if your cost per comment is below like $3 or your cost per lead's even below like $4, don't just tweak that ad ever to try and make it better. If it's already running well, don't be like, I'm going to try and make this one better. I'm going to go in, I'm going to tweak one of the variables. If you have, the money, and you leave it exactly how it is and you duplicate it. And if you're going to make any tweaks, then you tweak the duplicate, sorry. You don't want to fuck with one that's running well. What should I do with it if I don't get any leads after $5? If you don't get any leads after $5, then yeah, shut it down unless you're still getting good comments on it. And if you're still getting low cost per comment, then leave it. If you're engaging with those people, then leave it. If you have the time to actually talk to them, like I used to count my cost per comment or my comments as a lead. I would add those up just as if they were a lead, and I would do my own math on my cost per lead, because I was talking to all the people, and I was, a lot of the times it was, if I was wanting to get them to the webinar, it was pretty easy to get them to the webinar for the most part. So it was just as good as a cost per lead, or just as good as a lead, sorry. Would it be better to put your link in the comments for people to click on them? That is a strategy. That is a strategy for sure. You can try that. I've never done it personally. I have thought of ways to avoid having my comment in there, but still run as somewhat of a conversion ad. Obviously, if you put your, yeah, you can try it out, man. I would honestly just give it a shot and see how it works. I used to do it actually. That's a lie. I used to do it on webinar days. I'd go into my comments and right at the bottom of the comment, I would just put the my domain right in it, right in the comments, and say check out the live Webby tonight or whatever. I have a guy that I've been working with on and off for a few months, watching my Webby in September, but someone else's a little bit ago is buying into date. Is that now he's not quoted to me as of 5 days ago when the release? If you've been putting in the time with him, then go get your Team Phoenix link or whatever out of the back office and send him that. And if he uses that to buy in, he should be yours, man. The buy link should trump the opt-in date no matter what. If you don't have the time to engage, how would you run a conversion ad? Use a button. No, that's still going to be the same. I mean, having a button in there is going to be the same type of situation as having your domain in there. You just got to make time to engage with people. If not, you just got to take a bit of a hit on what it's going to cost you for running your engagements or your conversion ads, because they won't get quite as high of a reach. But I mean, most people in here, unless you're getting like 30 people plus asking for more info in a day, you should be able to make time. I was told that as soon as the link is in the comments, Facebook would lower. Oh yeah, you might be right, Shauna. You might be right. Facebook fucking tracks everything, so I would not be surprised. When you split test, do you place all your new ads you're testing at once so you can find a winning ad, then test more versus stretching it through a couple weeks? I know it depends on your ad budget, but if you have a good ad budget, I do them all at once, man. Sometimes I'll create, let's say, one campaign. If I have one ad video I want to test if I want to do one ad video, this is kind of how I structure it. And this is not, I'm not saying this is the only way to do it, but this is how I do it to stay a bit organized. If I have one ad video I want to test, I'll just create one campaign with that ad video, and then I'll create multiple ad sets within that campaign. So then I'll create sometimes I'll create 50 ad sets in there and let them all run for 24 hours, and then go into the next day and just delete all the ones that suck and move forward with the ones that are doing all right. You can stretch it out. Obviously, it's just going to take a little more time. Same thing, but it'll take a little longer. Okay, so that's what you meant. I pretty much always send by link, mostly close Messenger. Okay, yeah, continue doing that. And one thing which I haven't got confirmation on because I haven't noticed for sure. But if you're going to send the buy link, just go because I had my direct checkout link copied and I had it pasted in my notes on my phone. So I went and got the new one and pasted it, because I'm not sure. I asked if it's something to do with the code itself in your direct checkout link that's going to, if it's something that in the code itself with your direct checkout link that's going to actually cause the direct checkout link to trump the opt-in. So just use that whatever's back there. Don't use one you had pasted in your notes from a month ago type of thing. That's what I'm getting at. I thought it was a major no-no to put links in comments. Could be wrong. Yeah, you might be right. I haven't done it in a long, long time. Yeah, $300 a month is good, man. Honestly, people usually come in spending $5 a day, and that's you can work with that. But I will tell you right now, it's gonna take you longer. Obviously, right? The more money you spend, the more people you reach. So the more money you make, and the more ads you spend, and the more ads you run, the quicker you're gonna find one that converts. So that's that's the main benefit, right? So you got to just work with what you have. Honestly, just work with what you have, and if it's $300, then that's what you got, and you just go with $300. If it's $150, then you work with $150. Anything below $5 per day is basically not going to work for you. So $5 a day minimum. My video ad has been running for 3 days at $5 a day. I have 6K views and a legit 21 calls to action. Would you scale or try to double down? It doesn't really matter how many views you have or anything like that. If you're running an engagement ad, you want to see what your cost per comment is. If you're running a conversion ad, you want to see what your cost per lead is. That's honestly all I'm usually concerned with. I know they talk about relevancy score and you want to keep your relevancy score 8 or above. I never look at that either. It's just one more variable you can look at if you'd like to, but like I said, I look at cost per comment if I'm running conversion ads or post engagement ads, because I still get comments on conversion ads. So, but I mean, the cost per comment is a lot less important to me because I'd rather have ads that were converting and had low cost per lead than cost per comment, because that just means my cost per comments aren't as good for me because I don't have the time to talk to them all the time anymore. So it's not as beneficial for cost per comments for me as it would be for someone who has the time to chit chat with them. Okay, good. If my domain has been flagged, then is there any other way around getting it unflagged instead of it? No, you got to get a new domain. Mine has been 10 almost every time. It hasn't been much. Hasn't meant much for me. Your relevancy score, Jason, has been 10? Okay, that's good. That's really good. I mean, it means it's relevant. Facebook deems it relevant. People are interacting with it in a positive way. If your relevancy score is really low and you keep cranking an ad with a really low relevancy score, that can also lead to Facebook flagging you. Because like I said, they don't want irrelevant shit popping up all over people's news feeds. I think this was asked not too long ago. I would say it's not a super high percentage, but it's not low either. I mean, they say on average it takes about 75 to 100 leads to get a $99 buyer straight through like conversions like that. Now the amount of leads that actually show up to the webinar are significantly lower as well. So yeah, one of my downlines sent a buy link on the 14th. Let me just double check, Jeff, because I'll see when they actually told me when the say on a sec. I got it right here. What day they actually went live. The fuck did I read that? Huh. Say on a second. Just trying to figure out where Kevin messaged this to me. Oh shit, I'm in the wrong chat. Just hang on a sec. says here the changes went live on the 15th. So the changes went live on Friday the 15th. So that would be why. Oh, sick. Yeah, Jesse does that a lot. Have you used the look like audience option when you're creating an ad? Yes. Usually you're going to want like at least 100 leads with that particular, or I mean, if you're going to create a look like audience, you want to have at least 100 leads that are recent, you think. So then you can create a look like audience out of that. Yeah, look like audience can be super beneficial if you target the, look like audience, or if you retarget the audience. Yeah, Sean, I covered that earlier, and I'm under the same impression. So it shouldn't affect us a whole lot. Even if it is boosted posts, so I guess it would be sponsored. I don't think it would really have too much of an impact if, let's say, you're running a story ad or something like that, and it says comment I'm in on it. I don't think it's going to have much of an impact. We talked about it today. It's just the ads, like, or even actually, and for an example, which I ran a couple times too, and I think I even told you guys to do something like it to get followers on your for your fan page and stuff, and get kind of organic traffic, was to say like, who's ready to shred this winter or something with a picture. That's going to be a no-go. I don't think they'll flag it or anything like that, but they just won't put it in front of anybody. Your reach will be super low on it. Okay, I've been debating about doing it. I think you'll do it for sure now. C-Steel's better push the Webby or the 99. Honestly, depends what your strengths are, man. If you're not having much luck with pushing the 99, then just push then just get them to the webinar, dude. The webinar itself is converting better, but the deliverability is not that good. Like people getting the webinars, or with people getting the emails. So it's important that if you're sending people to the webinar, you make sure that you follow up with them. And, you say like, hey, did you get the link, or did you manage to check out the webinar or something like that, right? That's super important if you're going to take that angle, just because of the deliverability issues. Wait, what else is I supposed to cover here? Just hang on. Oh, the comp plan. Could you be more specific about the comp plan? What do you want to know, or what does your team want to know? Because, yeah, there's probably people in here that still don't understand the comp plan too well, but just a quick overview. If they buy in with the trifecta, what the next sale is and what lane. So if people buy in with a trifecta, so let's say if you came in and you purchased a trifecta right off the bat, essentially what's happening is you're buying one product from an adjunct to get your distributor ID. Then you're purchasing the next two products off of yourself. Those are considered your first two direct sales. So to jump up from 1A to 2A is the only rank that you need to get two direct sales to jump up. So you need two direct sales to go from 1A to 2A. So if you're a 1A, if you start off with, let's say, an Ukon, and you're a 1A and you sell a trifecta, it's not necessarily going to bump you up, right? You're going to only have one direct sale there. And then you're going to have to sell, even if you sold another trifecta, you're only at two direct sales. So both of those trifecta sales, I mean, you'd be at 6 sales in total, but you would still be a 1A. Because both of you, basically what would happen is you'd sell one trifecta. They would buy one product off of you. That would be one direct sale. Then they'd buy the other two products off of themselves. Next trifecta, they'd buy one product off you, which would be a direct sale. They'd buy the other two products off of themselves. So then your next sale would be your first 2A commission. So it's the same thing if you come in, and I mean, technically you're 2A once you start with the trifecta, but I mean, or I should say technically you're 1A, but your next sale is 2A commission. So if you come in with the trifecta, you purchase two products off of yourself. Those are your first two direct sales, which push you. The next sale would be your first 2A commission, which would be the $1,120. So that's a big benefit. So if you come in with a trifecta and you sell another trifecta right after that, you're going to be getting 2A commission on that. You'll be up to 6 sales right off the bat. And yeah, I don't know. That's kind of how you start off. That's why another thing too, which people don't realize, is when they're starting out, and this is what I didn't even realize for a while either. Well, I just didn't really understand the compensation plan for the first little bit when I started. But if you're starting out as a 1A with the Ukon, let's say, or one product, and you start off as a 1A and you're like, well, fuck, all I need is 2 direct sales and then I'm making 2A commission anyways. And I'm saving a ton of money not coming in with 3 products. In the long run, it could end up costing you a hell of a lot more money than that initial investment. Because if you came in with one product and your next sale, let's say you sell to somebody and they buy a trifecta, it doesn't even matter. Let's say they just buy whatever, and they're going to be in your 1A lane forever. Then you make another sale, and you're still 1A. That person's going to be in your 1A lane as well. So now every sale these people make, let's say they make trifecta sales, you're making 1A commission off of their trifecta sales, which is like 565 or whatever it went up to. It was 555. I think it's 565 now after the Nestle increase a little bit ago. But so then they're in your 1A lane forever. So let's say these two people end up being rock stars, and it's not as crazy now because of this whole 4x4 thing, which like when you buy, so when you buy like so people now understand when you hit 4A, you purchase another Ukon, let's say, and it can cut out your upline quicker than it would have in the past, a lot quicker when people were just trying to scale up with one product right up to 6A. So it had a bigger impact back then, but it still has a huge impact right now, because if say these two people come in, they end up both being rock stars, and they make, let's say they make even just 10 trifecta sales within the next year each. 20 trifecta sales total, right? So 20 trifecta sales making the $560 is going to be like, what, $1,200 or $12,000 or something like that. Whereas opposed to if you started off with a trifecta and those two people went into your 2A lane, you would be making, and they made 20 trifecta sales, you'd be making 20 times that 1,100 and whatever it was. So, I mean, they would be, because they wouldn't get to the point. It might come close if they start buying in with a Ukon at 4A. But let's say they make 20 trifecta sales in total. Even if one person made 10 trifecta sales, that'd only be 30 sales for them. So they still wouldn't have cut you out at that point. It'd be 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, you'd still be good. So yeah, so that would be like you would have made over $20,000 off of them, as opposed to if they started off in your 1A lane and you made like 1,200 or 12,000. You would make like 24,000 or whatever, double, right? So that right there, I mean, you've already made more than what the difference in the initial investment would be if you went with a trifecta. Cody Harris, I heard him say one time that he figured he had lost out on $60,000 because he started off with a Ukon. And in the long run, that's what it ended up costing him, just based on the sales that his downline was making. And I'm sure they must have been crushing it, and they must have, they must have not known about buying an Ukon at 4A, because they must have kept him, and they must have been in his 2A lane all the way up until 6A. So, I mean, it can cost you a lot of money in the long run. So that's one major benefit that people don't really understand. It can cost you a ton of money. And honestly, in the long run, you're going to be like, fuck, I could have made this much cash, but I decided not to so I could save this much on the front end, and I ended up losing this much on the back end. Not to mention you don't get all the products, which is, it's really hard to endorse and stuff. I mean, obviously some people, it's the only option, but yeah, that's kind of what happens with that. Quick overview at the bottom of the trifecta. What's the next sale? What lane? That person stays. Yeah. So, what else can we cover about the compensation plan? I'm not going to get into buying a new con once you hit 4A, because that's just, talk about people, or talk about that with people individually when they get there. Yeah. What else would you like me to talk about the compensation plan? Basically, with the comp plan, like, you're going to be working your way up. Another thing which also confuses people when they're starting out is when you're 3A, let's say, depending on your rank, that's how many points of commission you get. So if you're 6A, you get 6 points of commission. If you're 3A, you get 3 points of commission. But towards your rank progression, that's only based on products, not your rank. So if you sell a trifecta, you get 3 points towards your rank progression or your sales. 3 sales towards your rank progression. If you're 5A, you still get 3 points towards your rank progression, or 3 sales towards your rank progression if you sell a trifecta. So that was another thing that confused some people starting out, is they thought, okay, I'm 5A, now I sell a trifecta, I get 5 sales towards my rank progression. That's not how it works. You get 5 points of commission. So is it 21 team sales to reach 4A, or is it 21 direct sales? It's 21 indirect or direct sales. The only sale that needs to be direct is the sale that puts you up to the next rank, So your 21st sale would have to be direct, and that would lock in your 4A rank. Essentially, you could just sit and coast and do absolutely nothing until you got 101 sales from your team, which would be fucking really difficult. But if you just did that, and then all of a sudden at 101, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to get a direct sale. I'm going to buy a product off myself, and boom, you put yourself over and you just skip every single rank. That's possible. Yeah. There's one dude in here. I can't remember his name. Brian always talks about him. He basically did just that, man. He hasn't done anything, but his downlines carried him right up. Yeah. What else was I going to say? I don't know. Not too sure. Fucking beat. So I've had my buddy over here for the last few days, and we've just been snowboarding super hard and not getting a ton of sleep. But he's gone now, so. But it dumped like 30 centimeters apparently. It's snowing super hard, but it's supposed to be nuts tomorrow, so looking forward to it. If any of you guys have noticed, I've been a little slower on the response time lately. Been just trying to really hammer down the snowboard season here, and I'm kind of already getting in holiday mood too myself, to be honest. Back in the new year, we'll be ready to crank hard again here. I'm going to be back super focused. Probably going to – actually, we have fucking company, a ton of company in January too. Well, I mean, it's a good thing, but yeah. So, yeah, we'll be back to cranking hard. Anybody else have any other questions for me here before I hop off? What was my book? The Power of Full Engagement is the book I've been reading, and it's decent. It has a lot of good tips and strategies in it, but it's pretty dull at the same time. Honestly, like it's I'm not the power. It's ironic because I'm not engaged fully whatsoever when I'm reading that book. I'm just like, my mind's wandering. And yeah, you read it? Fuck, is it ever dry, man? Swear to God, I probably could have read the first 20 pages. I think I'd be good because it's a lot of repetition. Um, they talk about these case studies, if you want to call them that, over and over and over, and it's basically all the same. Some guy had an imbalance in either his work life or his physical life, or doing physical activity, or his lack of family time. Those were pretty much the three keys, and it was affecting him in negative ways, or her. And they need, basically, the whole moral of the story is you need equivalent rest basically to work. So if you're going to crank for a bit, you're more likely to get better results if you take a break. Even if you take a 20-minute break just to chill, take your mind off work, and you get back at it, you're going to be operating at a higher level than if you were to just crank right through. You'll get a lot more done taking breaks than you would if you worked right through. It's basically the moral of the story. Yeah. I was recommended it a couple times, so I was like, fuck, I better read this book. But yeah, honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. If I was you guys, I'd listen to it. Nah, fuck, the audio would probably be even worse. That'd probably put you right to sleep. There are some apps and things like that where you can basically just get the key points of a book. I think I might finish it with that because I'm not really having much enjoyment reading this one. I know there's so many better books that are on my list to read than that one, but I think I got the gist of it already. So, but it is super. That being said, it's really important that you do get some breaks and some rest, and that's why I felt it definitely necessary to chill a bit after November, because I was so focused on business. Literally, I wasn't focused on any other aspect of my life almost. So it was. I mean, it helped. It helped. I took breaks during it, but I mean, throughout the month of November, I made a point to take some breaks and like go on date night and stuff like that. But after November, I definitely felt pretty worn out. So yeah, just kind of trying to regroup still. Well, I wouldn't even say that. I'm just kind of made a conscious decision. I'm still cranking, but obviously that's all I was focused on throughout the month of November, as you guys probably saw. But yeah. Yeah, those breaks are super important. Get does anybody know the app in here that you can get that basically just goes through the key points in a book, and it's you can get through a book really quickly and get all the most important information of it. I think I fucking have it actually. I also got like a million apps on here, so it could take a while. Hoping somebody just knows it. Spark Notes. There you go. There's multiple, but that's one. There's another couple too. Blinkist, maybe? Is that one? Mentorbox does do that, but you can't choose the books. They just choose the books for you. But yeah, anyways, if you guys are going to read Powerful Engagement, I would recommend doing something like that. Trying to get the key points instead of reading the whole book. If you're going to spend some time reading, I would suggest spending that time reading something else, like The Code of the Extraordinary Mind was a million times better than the Powerful Engagement. Also, I've noticed too, a lot of books that I've read that were written. This one wasn't even written too long ago. I think it was 2009 or something. They're almost dated already. A lot of the theories and stuff they have, are seem like they're outdated, and they're kind of obsolete now. Like even talking about how, like, they're drilling it into your head how breakfast is the most important meal of the day and how you lose weight with eating breakfast and all this shit. But like, there's so many studies on not eating breakfast and doing intermittent fasting and how great it is and stuff like that for you. And that's what I've been doing lately. And my energy hasn't dropped during the day. I'm not putting on weight, that's for sure. Not bad weight. So Yeah, when I was reading that, it was like I kind of started to lose interest already because it was like they seem like they haven't quite done all the research. But and I mean, back in 2009, I don't think intermittent fasting or anything like that, or like was even a thing. So just stuff like that is what I've noticed. But yeah, and they do case studies, and they're all very similar, and they do a whole shitload of them. Like Bob was working 16 hours a day, and his family life started to struggle, and he was getting irritated with his kids, and he started to put on weight. That's pretty much every fucking one I read. But yeah, anyways, so I'm sure no one's going to read the powerful engagement in here now, but probably not missing too much. Shannon, I was going to see. Listen to a single title or learn how to place through the whole library. I think this is one, actually. New and classic titles. Blinkist. Try Blinkist as well. I think this is another one. Oh, Blinkist. Not even Blinkist. Blinkist. Just can't read. I'll put that in there so you guys can check that one out too. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. So thanks for tuning in. When is next Monday? What day is that? What's the date? 25th. Okay, we definitely won't be doing one next Monday. So probably going to be 2 weeks from now. Oh, fuck. No, we'll figure it out. Might have to do a Tuesday or something. So we won't be doing one Christmas Day or New Year's Day. Maybe New Year's Eve night we'll do one. That could be interesting. Just kidding. I want to fucking embarrass myself on here in front of everybody. All right, yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. If you guys have any questions, reach out to me. Like I said, I might be a little bit slower than usual, but we'll see you guys. I'll let you guys know, give you a bit of a heads up when the next one would be, or if you guys have, if I see the questions starting to pile up, then maybe we'll just have one of these days. But yeah, everybody have a good night, Merry Christmas, and we will talk soonish. All right, later.